Even after a week with tons of moves in NFL free agency, the Broncos and the Dolphins decided to keep us on our toes for at least another day. Jaylen Waddle is heading from the Miami Dolphins to the Denver Broncos. Just breaking on Twitter a few minutes ago, Jaylen Waddle is headed to a new home with the Denver Broncos as the Broncos are going all in on winning a Super Bowl this season, and the Miami Dolphins clearly are hitting the reset button. Tom Pellisario over on Twitter gave us the breakdown of the trade. Jaylen Waddle going to Denver. Miami is going to get Denver's first round pick this year, their 30th overall, and they're going to get a late third and a fourth round pick to go with it. There has been some speculation that Jaylen Waddle would end up being traded, and it felt like it could have happened last year at the trade deadline. It felt like it could have happened this offseason already, but prior to the NFL draft, Miami finally moving on from him. What does this mean for both teams, though? The Denver Broncos are adding an absolute weapon to an offense that already has some really solid weapons, and this probably makes them the favorite in the AFC West as of now. This puts Bo Nix firmly inside the top 12 pretty easily. And I think we've seen top 12 potential from him throughout his career so far, but there's been a lot of inconsistencies with it. If he can figure out some of those inconsistencies when it comes to some accuracy issues, Jaylen Waddle could end up being the boost that he needs to really take his game to the next level. And I think he is a great complement, Jaylen Waddle, I mean, for Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton and Jaylen Waddle are not the same type of wide receiver. These are two guys that can coexist together, and they throw the ball enough that Bo Nix can get them both the targets that they need. Now, I will say I don't think Courtland Sutton is a top 12 wide receiver. I don't think Jaylen Waddle is a top 12 wide receiver, but I think they both can be very solid wide receiver twos. Courtland Sutton is going to be a little bit more about touchdown potential. He's going to be that big playmaker on the outside, especially in the red zone. When they get down inside the 20, Bo Nix is going to be looking to Courtland Sutton more times than not. While Jaylen Waddle, to me, is going to be more of a volume guy. He's the one that we might be looking to more in like a PPR league. He's the type of guy that we could be looking to have a little bit more of a steady output, where Courtland Sutton is going to have some big games and some lower games. Jaylen Waddle, I think, finds himself really in the middle of those two outcomes a majority of the time. If you're looking for boom or bust high upside potential, you're probably going to go with Courtland Sutton. If you're looking for a little bit more consistency, maybe not nearly as many touchdowns, maybe not nearly as high of a ceiling, then you would go with Jaylen Waddle instead. And then probably on the other side, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, some combination of those guys working their way on and off the field. Last season, we saw that a lot. You would have Courtland Sutton and then a plethora of wide receiver twos on and off the field, and it made it really difficult to figure out who the wide receiver two would be in any given week. This year, we're going to know who the wide receiver two is every single week. This is great news for the run game as well. J.K. Dobbins was really solid, and he re-signed for 2 years in Denver, and I think he's going to be solid once again. You have R.J. Harvey as the RB2 there. He's the guy that scored quite a few touchdowns last season. I don't think he's going to be the RB1, but I think both of these guys are going to find themselves in a position to find bigger plays now. Maybe the volume isn't nearly what we would like because Denver probably throws the ball quite a bit this season, but efficiency will be king when it comes to these guys. RJ Harvey's going to be really a flex option every single week potentially, especially if he's utilized in the passing game the way he was at times last year. If he could become the number 3 target on this team, he can end up getting enough catches per game that we could think about flexing him. And with how he was used inside the red zone last year, hopefully he can keep up some of that touchdown potential as well. J.K. Dobbins really will be like an RB3 flex type option as well. I don't know if he'll have the upside as RJ Harvey because RJ Harvey is more of a home run threat than what Dobbins is, but I think Dobbins is going to give us consistency all season long. And maybe he only gets 15 carries a game, but he could do some really good things with those 15 carries, and if he scores a touchdown on top of it, we've got ourselves a guy that isn't a high-end starter every single week, but he's consistent. For the Miami Dolphins, this does not leave a lot to be desired for them. They already have over $90 million in dead cap after releasing Tua. They're spending a ton of money for Malik Willis to come in as a free agent and replace Tua. And now they got rid of their first or second best playmaker on their team, depending on what you think about Devon Achane. And the wide receiver core is not nearly as dynamic as it has been over the last few years for this team. Tutu Atwell is their number one wide receiver as of right now. And it's going to be interesting to see what Miami does in the draft. They have 2 first-round picks now, and I would imagine that they're going to use one of those picks on a wide receiver. But their new head coach is a defensive-minded head coach. And the Miami Dolphins had issues on defense last year. Their defense struggled and took a huge step back from the season prior. And after having so much focus on the offense over the last several years with Mike McDaniel, it would not shock me if they don't revert to looking at the defensive side of the ball more right now. The Dolphins now have 11 picks in the 2026 NFL Draft, which is going to give them plenty of opportunity to retool this team and add playmakers all over the field, or at least guys that can contribute. But if you've been around all offseason, I talked about Miami kind of the same way that I talked about Chicago last year and what Chicago is doing now. Chicago last year brought in an offensive-minded head coach, used the draft to really focus on offense, built up their offense for him, and then now they're going to be looking to ramp up the defensive side of the ball. For Miami, I think it could be the same thing. Defensive-minded head coach, work on the defensive side of the ball this season, especially in the draft. Focus on getting a better defense. Work on focusing on your offense next offseason, and then get that back to where it needs to be. So for Miami, we've still got some time here to see what could happen from a fantasy standpoint, but I don't love this. For Devon Achane, it might end up hurting him and his efficiency on the ground, but it could end up leading to even more targets. So I'm not going to drop him outside the top 12. And in fact, when they signed Malik Willis, I dropped him a little bit, kind of that RB6 or 7 area. I'm probably going to leave him there because who else is going to get targets on this team? Tutu Atwell, Malik Washington. I'm going to go ahead and go with Devon Achane, still finding himself inside the top 12 more times than not. And if they can add a playmaker at the wide receiver position in the first round, Devon Achane more than likely ends up being fine. I don't want to panic here. As far as the wide receivers go, though, Tutu Atwell probably is the number one wide receiver, but I don't think we're going to see any wide receivers as of right now in Miami stand out as fantasy assets unless they draft a rookie. Headliner Nation, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, though. Who do you like this move for the most? Are there any sleepers that are going to come out of this? Do you think Tutu Atwell is a guy that you could invest in the late rounds in Miami? Are you worried about Devon Achane? Let me know down in the comments below. Stay safe, stay healthy. Make sure you subscribe, like the videos, and stick right here so you get your off-season fix all off-season long. I'll see y'all in the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics, off the chain, all the channels, not the same. Jake and Kyle, you